術式順天青
Hello everyone, my name is Troy and welcome to Maximum Output Training. Welcome to week 4 of the year-end max outs, and this is max effort upper. So today's variation, we are changing actual variations to not go balls to the wall, and I'll give you a little kind of insight as to how I structure my max effort variation. So how I structure my max effort variations, I kind of cycle them in a way that targets different areas of the lift. So what I mean by that is week 1 will be, or the first variation of the training cycle or whatever that may be, will be lockout strength or tricep strength. So that will be like a board press or versus bands or some sort of high pin press. And then the week after that will be something off the chest. So that could be some sort of camber, which increases the range of motion, a super long pause, and then different hand grips across the bar. And then the week after that will be a lockout strength, some sort of tricep strengthening type variation. So once again, board press from maybe 2 to all the way to 5 against bands or another high pin press. And then the week after that is off the chest, but sometimes that will be a deload. So for that reason, I will do either some sort of floor press where my leg drive is out, or feed up Larson type press where it makes the lift a little bit harder, but I'm also not going super balls to the wall just because I'm taking the leg drive out of it. So that's how I structure my max effort upper variations in that way, so you can kind of like do the same so you're not always fatigued all the time. But for this I almost said meal prep, for this year-end max out, I'm just changing it differently for the last few weeks, is I'm going to do the opposite. So instead of going lockout, off chest, lockout, off chest, feet up, we're going to change it up just a little bit. So this is how I'm going to structure it. It's going to be feet up today. So this day's variation is competition style grip with feet up. And then next week will be some sort of board press. And I think I programmed 3 board, which I haven't done in a couple years. So really target lockout strength. And then the week after that is a top triple with close grip. So I'm not going super balls to the wall to comp grip. And then a deload, but the deload is going to be a little bit different in how I usually structure deload. And then I max out. How I max out, I'm not too sure how I'm going to do that yet. I'm either going to do like a meet style where I do squat, bench, and deadlift on the same day, or stretch it out through the week and just kind of max out individual lifts, but then just do nothing afterwards, and then just kind of like, and then deload again for the 2025, and then the second week or whatever, I smash 2025 strong. So I'm going to shut up now. We're going to start warming up. Competition style grip has been feeling very awkward these days. I don't know why. Maybe because I've lost almost 15-ish pounds. New low of 148.6 today pounds. Officially 15 pounds down, but around the 150 pound mark. Competition style grip just feels off. Maybe because as I said, like I lose weight, your leverages do change a little bit, but I don't know. We're going to warm up a little bit longer, see if I can get in the groove of competition style grip again. But once again, it's going to be feet up. I'm not too sure how I'm going to do this because usually I put my feet on the bench, and that kind of leads to me almost like picking up my ass off the bench and doing like a glute bridge decline feet up press. So I think I'll just do like a true Larson press with my feet out and trying to stabilize my abs. You know what? We'll probably do that because I had fun last time doing it with close grip. So competition style grip, feet up / Larson press. We're going to warm up with the bar. Let's do this. Okay. Larson press versus feet up press. Very similar, but also quite different. Just because when you put your feet up on the bench, you're a little bit more stabilized and you can kind of feel a little bit more grounded. And in a way, you can also use a little bit of leg drive through this just the little space you have for your feet, and you can kind of just drive into the pad. Whereas Larson press, your feet are extended and you have to like focus on stabilizing your body because it's not as like your feet aren't planted in any sort of form. They're all the way out, and you got to keep your feet fully extended and keep your core engaged. So yeah, this is like my second time doing Larson press this year. I've always done feet up or floor press. I love floor press. It's one of my favorite variations, but I obviously can't do it. If you can kind of see, the 45 pounds are in the way, so I had to switch to feet up, and I've been enjoying feet up. But I feel like I still get this weird leg drive craving, and then I want to pick up my ass off the bench. So I've switched to Larson press. Even though they are very similar, it depends who you ask. I think they're same, but different. So I'm going to put 95 pounds on, rest for a little bit, and I'll catch you for the next set. Not going to lie, I'm missing floor press quite a lot these days just because it was one of my favorite variations. Just, I don't know, something about floor press that was just very satisfying to max out on. And probably because you also had that weird safety of just like, oh, you only have to go so far on the floor where your arms touch the floor. You rest for like 1 to 2 seconds, pause, and you fire up. And obviously I can't do that anymore because my 45 pounds for the bar or for the squat rack is in the way and I can't set it up. So I had to do feet up press for the longest time. Not that I hate feet up press. It's just, I like floor press. It's just, I don't know. Something about floor press is just so satisfying. But we do what we can, and I really like my 45 pounds on my squat rack to stabilize it so it's not moving around as much, and it gives me, like, I have free plate storage on my squat rack, so might as well just use them and store plates on them. Anyways, 95 pounds on the bar, we're going for sets of 8, and we'll work up to a top single of around between 205, 215. I don't think I'm going to hit my max of 225 because that was with feet up on the bench, and this is Larson press, so it's gonna be a little bit different, but as long as I hit 205, between 205 and 215, I think I'll be happy with it. So 95 pounds for probably 8. 7. God, that feels so weird. Something to definitely work on, especially with bracing my core a little bit harder to stabilize myself on the bench. I feel like I'm still lopsided, but obviously work in progress as I do Larson press a lot more in training. And I think I will be omitting feet up press, or just have it as in the weird variation if needed be. I don't know. I have a lot of variations in my toolbox with just the barbell alone. And then you throw in different hand grip widths and stuff like that. You have like triple the amount. So I don't know. I'll probably just keep my PRs for, this is like me getting super pedantic and super anal about it. But yeah, I just keep all my variations of what I've done in the past. Not the far past when I was in 180s and super heavy Troy. This is like between 165, 150, 145 Troy. So I'm keeping those PRs, and then we could just work from there. So I'm gonna slap 135 on, do sets of 5, and I'll catch you for the next set. And also, I gotta fix my mic because it feels awkward when it's all the way over here. So see you in a bit. 135 on the bar, sets of 5. I don't know how this is gonna turn out. I gotta really focus. I can't focus on leg drive because that's what the whole point of this whole variation is. The whole point of close grip, Larson press, feet up, floor press is to take leg drive out of the movement and focusing on upper body strength. So therefore, if leg drive is a limiting factor, you can just focus on upper body to get the lift. So you're taking the assistance of leg drive out. If you manage to know, if you know how to do leg drive, you're limiting your lifting by taking it out. So it's all upper body strength and focused on pecs, your front delts, and your triceps. So it's a good movement to have. But if you're like a bodybuilder type and you don't know how to leg drive, probably doing Larson press, floor press, or feet up won't be an advantage for you. But I don't know, that's just something of my opinion, because a lot of bodybuilders, they don't do a lot of leg drive. They just kind of plant their feet by using leg drive to kind of groove yourself in and push into the floor, and then pushing on your traps to get the bar up. They just more focus on the muscle stretch and tension and contraction and all that fun stuff. And then that's how they have big pecs. I'm not going to complain. A lot of bodybuilders are stronger than me, regardless of leg drive. So kudos to you guys. God damn it. I hate that so much that you guys, that some bodybuilders are stronger than me without leg drive when I have leg drive. It's whatever. Bench is my worst lift, and it's just a work in progress. Next set, let's do this. a lot better. I decided to put my wrist wraps on just because my wrist is still pretty mangled from when I pissed it off last Tuesday before. I don't know. It's very, I got range of motion back into it. It's not as mangled as before. It still hurts here and there if I rotate it too far than I normally would. But it's healing, so thank God for that. But there's something wrong with this like left side of my body. This wrist has been pissed off, but it's healing. I pissed off my finger when I ripped it off because I'm a nail finger biter. And then for myself, because of my fingers and my hands, I have small hands. When I do kind of like strap double overhand work too much, my second knuckle where the calluses form, they tear. And they tear in such a way that it feels like my skin is parting this way. So wherever you bend at your knuckle, there's a callus there and it just rips and shreds it open. So gripping stuff is very hard and it takes a long ass time for it to heal because you're always doing this motion here and you're gripping stuff. So when it comes to barbell movements, like doing bench press and pull-ups and rows and stiff leg deadlifts, hurts like a motherfucker. But for some reason, not for some reason, when I do regular deadlifts, like going for top sets or doing my singles, because I hook grip, my knuckles go over top of the thumb and it kind of just like, if you can, they're not really, you don't really see, but there's a little space in between where I pull and it gives it breathing room. So it doesn't affect my deadlifts all that much because on Monday for my max effort variation was 3-inch block pull sumo style. And I managed to hit 500 pounds with this torn callus thing, torn finger for a little 5-pound W. I don't want to say PR, but little 5-pound W. So obviously that was not a whole limiting factor for my pulling, but it was a mental barrier to get over because me thinking about it hurt it more versus me just putting pressure from the bar. So if that makes sense, it probably doesn't, but hopefully you guys figure it out. Next set, 165. I'm going to probably do 1 or 3 reps and then singles all the way up to around 205, 215. The belt is on, and just like a couple months ago, I am somewhat in between the holes again. So I'm at, if you can kind of see, there's 4 more holes left. This 5th hole here is a little, just a smidgen too loose. But if I go 1 hole tighter, it's super tight where I can't brace properly and it actually kind of hurts. And I don't want to pop my rib because I've actually done that in the past. So one of my ribs is actually more protruded out. So it's popping out a little bit more than my right side. So I think that happened around 2014, 2015. And for some reason, it was during deadlifts. And I either braced too hard or I have no idea. But when I was deadlifting for, I think it was like a set of 5, my rib just like popped. It's like, and then it's been like that since. Obviously, there's could be like life style things in there that could have led to it. But I don't know. I just thought that was just super weird. And I actually tried to ice my rib. Like I thought I like bruised it or something. So I had ice like underneath my rib for like the longest time thinking that would help. But I don't know. Yeah. So I popped my rib doing deadlift work while I was bracing hard and I was pushing into my belt. So that was like, yeah, that was like one of the bigger injuries before I started straining and hurting myself throughout my little fitness journey here. But whatever. We're going to be sticking on the 5th hole here for the belt because that's where I'm at. It's just a little too loose. And if I go a little tighter, it's way too tight. So I have to suck it up and do what I have to do. Do what I have to do and deal with it. I could speak English, but for now, 165 for a set of 1 to 3 and then singles all the way up. $165 moved for 3. I kind of had to cut off that last clip there when I came up off the bench. I said I just couldn't really talk. So let's jump to 185. So the one thing that I kind of noticed between Larson press and feet up press is setup is a little bit different for me. Obviously, it's going to change for everyone else. Just because when I do feet up on the bench and I do my setup and I dig my traps into the bench and then unrack the weight, my feet are still planted on the bench and you get a little bit tight because you still have some leg drive in here going into the bench. But for Larson press, if you can kind of notice how I kind of do it, I set up how I normally would set up by digging my feet into the ground, push into my traps, unrack the bar, and then from there, then I lift my feet and then proceed to do the press. So I feel like just by setting up my feet, doing my leg drive to unrack, and then putting my feet out to do the Larson press itself, I stay a little bit tighter, a little bit in my kind of position for how I would do regular pressing. Aside from stabilizing my abs, I think it's just a little bit better, a little bit better for carryover. There you go. I could speak English. I don't know if it'll change for everybody, but I just felt like I stayed a little bit tighter through the lift versus when I just had my feet on there. I don't know. It felt different when the unrack. Anyways, 185 for one. My leg drive was fucking terrible for the unrack there. I gotta fix that. I'll probably jump to 195, maybe 205 and just send it. So the idea is not to go balls to the wall and try to beat my record of 225 for feet up. I'm just gonna do probably 205, 215 just to stay within 90%, in the 90% range, just to kind of have my max effort for the day, and then we'll go from there. All right, I'm gonna send it 205, possible top set, last set, or second last set. I'm not too sure. We'll see how this one goes, and I'll catch you for a little after game report. That was shit. I don't know what the fuck happened there. I went for the lift as I put my feet out. That was terrible. Oh my God. I might have to do that again. I might just call it, or I'll slap 210 on. Yeah, that was terrible. I'll catch you in a bit. There we go. That was much better. I'm keeping it 205. I think I wasted too much energy there doing it a second time. When it comes to failing, missing reps, misgrooving it, even if you do get the lift, from a veteran, advanced perspective, take it again if you have the energy, or you can call it, because I know you know your own body better than I do. From a beginner to maybe an intermediate perspective, take your L and move on. I just think from a safety standpoint, you should not be doing it again. Just something to work on. But me, I'm very stubborn, especially when it comes to maxing out or doing max efforts. I tend to do it one more time because sometimes it is actually a misgroove on my end, or just something just went up here, or I just simply just fucked up the entire lift, or I actually do miss the lift, and I think it's usually within the context of the last lockout where I kind of lose it, and then I try again. But if I get stapled, obviously I'm not strong enough, and I just take my L and move on. So with that the previous set with 205, I noticed from the video, the playback footage, I guess you could say, as I went down, as I started the movement, I then put my feet out, and then I finished went to go finish the lift, and that's what made it a lot harder. This time around, I focused on trying to get tighter, and then put my feet out and then proceed to do the lift. Also, with it, when it comes to my setup for bench, this shoulder, for whatever reason, when I try to like retract it and put it down, I always feel like it slips out of place sometimes. But I feel like if I have to keep finagling with it and putting it back into place, it messes up my lift. So I am a probably uneven bench press lifter, where this is probably over exaggerated, where I come up and slightly up like this because this shoulder is protracted more, so it comes out of its retraction and just goes like this. So probably that's why I have a lot of shoulder issues on this side, is because it's not as strong as my right side and it just won't stay into place. So 205, 90%, take the W. I'm gonna rest a little bit and we're gonna go to our first barbell accessory. Competition style grip for Larsen press at 205 for a nice little W there. Now we are on to our first barbell accessory as always, and this time it's gonna be closest grip, meaning index, start of the knurl, closest to the smooth. I'm just trying to keep everything relatively close to competition style grip, even if it is about 2 hand grip widths away, and just trying to build up and hopefully strengthen my competition style grip. So we're doing sets of 5 at 160 pounds. I actually misloaded and I put 150 on, but I already scrapped that clip. So we're doing sets of 5, 160, and let's see how it goes. That felt pretty good, even though it pissed off my wrist a little bit. Maybe the angle, maybe, I have no idea. But I'm gonna keep doing these for a few more sets and I'll catch you for the next accessory. Last and final exercise of the video, we are ending off with dips, one of my favorite exercises ever since I got these with my squat rack off the used market just a little over a year ago. I really like dips. You can target more chest than tricep. Let's rephrase that. You can target a little bit more chest this way, or you can hammer out triceps depending on how you angle your body. I mostly use this as both, obviously, but a lot of people try to target triceps. Saying triceps with try in one sentence is very difficult for me today. I don't know why, but we're doing dips. I try to target more triceps than chest, but I also like to target my chest as well, so I don't have a specific angle I go for. And I'm trying to use this wider grip. It felt okay last training session, the last 3 weeks. I'm gonna try going closer grip, see how that feels. Depending on the angle, if I flip this way away from you and go for a wider grip, it targets a little bit more chest, but it feels a little bit uncomfortable on either my shoulder or my elbow. And then this way feels nicer on the triceps because they're a little bit closer. But once again, it either hurts my shoulder or tricep, depending on which way. I always rotate between closer and wider just to have variation within dips, but I love dips. So let's do this. We are doing sets of 10 with my 5-pound ball sack. And first set, here we go. Okay, that felt phenomenal on my entire body. There was no like weird clicking or weird pain in my shoulders and elbows, just a little bit clicking, but nothing like painful. I think I'm gonna stick with the closer grip this time around, and then maybe like on my deload for dips, I'll try the wider grip and see how that plays out. I'm gonna continue with these. I might have to up the weight for dips and see how that goes. With my max effort days, I try to limit a little bit more volume and in terms for more intensity, hence max effort, going higher weights, and then keeping the volume relatively lower. And then on my dynamic effort day, what I try to do is up the volume and intensity is at sub-maximal moderate rates. Moderate weights. So I'm trying to not like overreach, over fatigue myself. And I'm trying to like find this healthy balance with all my accessories. Because as much as I want to play in my head that more reps, more volume, more muscle growth. Yes, but also I'm trying to build strength at the same time on my max effort days. Obviously with my dynamic effort days, which is like ingraining the technique form and then building the lifts with sub-maximal weights versus not just with max effort. But I'm just trying to like find that healthy balance. So that's a work in progress. Obviously with my program, I'm on week 48 officially, just following this kind of like cycle within my conjugate training. But for now, I'm going to end the video here because I think I've been talking way too much throughout this video and I got to get the hell out of here and record some more content for Instagram. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, maximumoutput_training. And I'm usually active or try to upload something daily, mostly reels and more informative stuff. I'm trying to put myself a little bit out there more in terms of myself. I like memes, I like jokes, and I want to try to put myself like more about myself because I'm very much into PC tech, video games, anime, manga. I can't obviously put tequila in personal training, but obviously I try to live a healthy balance lifestyle, and obviously my music choices, and if you can kind of hear, which hopefully not so I don't get flagged by YouTube, is hardstyle music, EDM. I go to raves and festivals, just not this year. But yeah, comment, rate, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I'll catch you next week for another training vlog, and it most likely will be about dynamic effort work, so you can kind of see how I structure it for this year in Max Out. And until then, I'll catch you guys next week. Peace.